Okay. There's the definition of a bad cat.
And some horse's backside way to make a retainer.
There's leaks galore from the airline stuff. Every elbow was rotted. Hey, this is Davin with Hagerty, our Redline rebuild updates. Today I'm kicking off a fresh project. This project has all the bells and whistles. It has at least 3 decades newer technology to it than our last projects. And it's sitting right here. And it's rust-free. Get this, it's rust-free. This is a 1993 Jeep Cherokee Sport that's 29 years old, my friends. And yes, this is probably a classic these days. We had to go to Colorado to get a rust-free one because there is no such thing as a rust-free Cherokee in Michigan because of the infatuation of putting salt on the roads during the winter. But it's here. It's got power brakes. It has fuel injection, which is a leap forward and like craziness. It has power steering, which we've had some power assist vehicles before. But it also has air conditioning, which we've never had. Not saying that 60 cars don't have it, but we just never had one. We've always had the 440 air conditioning. For those of you that never heard of 440 air conditioning, that's where you go 40 miles an hour with 4 windows down to get the AC working. This, we won't have to do that. So here it is, all of its glory, straight 6, 4 liter, fuel injected, 5-speed manual transmission. It's clanky and it's clunky. It's leaking oil. The transmission is a little weird. We are going to upgrade the clutch. We're going to do some work. Well, we're going to do some magic, I'll say, with the transmission. And we're going to completely strip down this engine and completely redo it. Now, to do that, we're going to put rockauto.com to the test and see if they do have everything for this Jeep. This is a fairly simple and straightforward, but it is cluttered because it has emissions, it has air conditioning, it has power steering, so on and so forth. So we're just going to kind of start decluttering that. I'm going to do the best I can not to disconnect the air conditioning. We'll just lay it up off to the side. And the same thing like with power steering. So, but we're going to get this out. And we are going to clean everything and make it look nicer. And then of course we'll have to disconnect the drive shaft and the transmission. So the Jeep is going to be up, down, this way, that way, and then this out. Going good. Good to be going.
How's it compare to working on cars that have spent their whole lives in Michigan?
I have a lot less stuff on my hair. Well, I got a lot less hair too, I guess, but it's nice that stuff that is normally rusted to beat the band and you can't get off is coming off, but then you also have the typical, you know, crappy exhaust hanger stuff that doesn't matter what part of the country you're in, I guess it rusts. Like this one. Okay, so here's my rockauto.com tip of the day. If you have a stuck, rusted bolt that you're trying to get out, in this case it's a nut on the exhaust hanger, a little bit of heat goes a long ways. Now, do you need a large oxyacetylene torch? No. A little propane torch that you can a little propane torch that you can get just from your local hardware will do just fine. Just takes a little bit longer. But be careful. Don't point this at the exhaust. It'd be bad.
At the
Yeah, don't point it. I said don't point it at the gas tank.
You said the exhaust.
Did not. RockAuto.com tip of the day number 2. Don't let your cameraman step on the hot nut.
I think my shoe was just melted to the floor.
Yeah. Now I know every one of you is asking the question, why did you go through the pain of taking that off and then cut this? Well, we thought we were going to be able to get it apart. That's why. But that seam is too tight. That's mammoth. That blade is fairly aggressive.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There's the definition of a bad cat. It's broke out. Not purposely, it's because it's one piece in there, but broke out from age. All right, well, here's where we're at. We cut the exhaust out. We were gonna try to save some things, but we couldn't get the couplers to come apart because of the pinch clamps. But that's out of the way nonetheless. That also allowed us to get the cross member out. And of course using the jack underneath here to hold the transmission and everything up out of the way, pull the cross member out. At this point, I believe I have everything disconnected. I'm sure there's a bolt somewhere that's going to fight me. But I think I got everything up across the top of the bell housing. It's kind of hard to see. I'm sure if I was doing this on a daily basis, I would know where that secret bolt's at. But we'll get this apart. I got it strapped to my transmission jack, and I'm going to attempt to lower it with the transfer case on. Nothing, all the linkage is detached. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. Take it out. It's there, it's not gonna catch. There, thank you. It was just bound.
I'm just trying to get all these fuel injectors unhooked, and the way they did the clip to retain the connector to the injector, you gotta pull a metal ring instead of pushing it or pulling it. The only way I can see it is physically prying it out of the way, which I probably did it wrong, and that's great because they're all done now. But yeah, not how I would have done it. But that's okay.
All right, so here's where we're at. We have everything, quote unquote, everything, disconnected. I got every electrical wire I can see. I have the fuel injector lines disconnected. I have throttle, I have the fuel line. I think there was 14 ground cables that they're disconnected now. And I'm down to really just taking these two last bolts off the motor mounts
And then, but I'm not gonna do that until the chain is hooked up to it. And then, in theory, this is gonna come out, like jump out. With no effort, like almost do it itself. Right?
Right.
Seems reasonable. Okay. All right. It's pretty level. But it lifts up high enough. There. Well, here it is. It is all officially out. Transfer case and transmission, engine. Out on the floor, ready to be completely disassembled, cleaned up, put back in. That's a short order, I'm sure. So with that, my day is done. Time to find something to wash my hands with. And of course, I got to get out in my own shop and get my projects done. So do you, so get up and go after it. See ya.